I remember my junior year of high school. I had always been this, great student that showed up, never skipped school, and, just did what she needed to do. But something happened my junior year. I started hanging out with people that, wanted to skip school, and I just went and I did it, and it was fun. And then I would just do more of it because it was awesome and it felt like freedom. But little did I know that these choices I was making and the actions I was taking were going to lead me down a road that wasn't going to be of service to me. What ended up happening was by the time junior year had ended and summer rolled around, I ended up receiving a letter in the mail from my high school telling me that I wouldn't be accepted back for my senior year because of my attendance issue. That was not cool to receive. It left me feeling devastated, feeling like a complete failure. And it was very disappointing. Like, how could I let myself get kicked out of school? So, of course, my mom was upset about it. She told my grandma about it. She was not pleased with me. And from that point, I was like, you know what? Like, apparently, like, this just isn't for me. I'm going to go find a job. I'm not going to graduate high school. Like, I'm just going to go and become a full-time nanny. And that's it. It's like I was throwing in the towel. There were no other options, and this was the route that I was choosing to take. Although, if you look at it, it's good because it was taking responsibility, because I could have just sat there and not did anything. But aside from that, what ended up happening was my grandma ended up writing a letter. And by the time senior year rolled around, I did end up getting accepted back. And by midway through, I would say, it was about halfway through senior year, maybe a little bit after, I ended up having an attendance issue again. I was skipping school and hanging out with someone that had already graduated the year before, just not wanting to be there. That summer of my junior year, I did go through a breakup, and that was something when I look back now, obviously I didn't know how to process through that back then, and it left me feeling like not good enough and depressed, and this guy, left me for another girl. So a lot of us can hold on to that baggage, when we're left by someone and we have those feelings of being not good enough and then feeling sad and depressed about it. If we don't process through it, then that kind of it's additional emotional baggage that's in our body, and it starts eating away at us. And some other stuff that was going on too was my grandma ended up in a nursing home, and she ended up in a coma, and she ended up passing away that February of my senior year. And that was a huge devastation and loss. It was a lot for my mom to deal with. And with these, kind of bigger life circumstances that were going on, apparently I just didn't feel like going to school. So I decided to skip school. And got the letter, or got the boot out of high school, and I was like, wow, this is it. Like, all right, it's really time to get a job and figure this out. We explored some other schools. For whatever reason, I just felt like, this is not it. Like, I'm just not going to graduate from high school. But long story short, I did end up going to a local technical college to get my high school equivalency diploma. And while there, it actually went a lot better than high school. There was a teacher, but it was more of this self-study, self-teaching. And for whatever reason, I thrived, and I made the honor roll for the first time ever, so that was kind of cool. what I want to share with this is a lot of times kids, when they're in high school, they have these devastations. Their parents don't know how to help them. You know, they've got these hormones flowing through their body. They've got emotions on top of those hormones. Parents don't know how to help them process these emotions. Sometimes the parents aren't present for them. Maybe they're going through their own stuff in their own lives, and they just aren't, that support system that that teenager needs at that time. So as I reflect on this, a teenager can feel very hopeless at that point in time if they don't have that right support that they need. And it can leave them feeling just like, with that low self-esteem, just not believing in themselves, not believing in possibilities, and basically like their life is over. That's like the automatic thought process for them. Like, my life's over, that's it. Like, there's nothing else. I'm a failure. And if they choose to hang on to those thoughts, then they don't get anywhere in life. So if I look back and I look at these thoughts and I'm like, wow, I'm a failure. I didn't even get like my diploma from high school. It's an equivalency diploma. I didn't truly graduate from high school. It's embarrassing to look at, but at the same time, it's like, look at that. Look at your mindset back then, and look at who you've actually created yourself to be. So even though we've gone through, or even though I should say I've gone through a difficult circumstance, or if other people are going through a difficult circumstance, I want you to know that we don't have to allow that circumstance to define us. We don't have to allow, for me, for example, the death of my grandma, the, being dumped for another girl, and feeling not good enough, the other issues that arose after my grandma died, that I will just leave this as is, but other stuff that arose that didn't allow me to have that support that I needed to be able to get through my obstacles. And if I just stayed in that mindset and I didn't, choose to move forward, or I didn't choose to continue on in my life, I'll let you know, like, I didn't ever think that I could go to college. Like, not graduating from high school, that left me like, wow, you suck. Like, this is it. Like, I'm never going to school again. Like, school was not a great experience for me. It really blew. And then I just went out into the workforce and, got a full-time job immediately out of high school and just did the damn thing. But as I look back and I, see how life like kind of unfolded, going back to school as a 35-year-old, going and getting a college degree, it's really something, to be proud of, to reflect upon, to share as a story with other kids that maybe they think that they can't do these things because they already fucked their life up and there's no hope for them. I want to tell you, there's hope. There is so much hope. Again, we don't have to let the past define our present. Who we were in our past doesn't have to be who we end up being throughout the rest of our life. There are so many resources, tools, so many life coaches that are now out there that can help you through these obstacles in life, that you can truly make something of your life. You don't have to allow what happened in the past have that power over you that prevents you from really truly stepping into that greatness that God created you to be. I hope that this story inspires you if you're feeling like you're in a bad place, or that maybe you had bad experiences in your past and you really allowed them to determine who you were going to be and what type of life you were going to live for your future. Just know that anything's possible for you. You can reprogram who you are as a person. There is 5% left of your conscious mind or your subconscious that you can reprogram to step into this brand new version of yourself. It's something that I did. I won't share that whole story here today, but it's what led me on this path to wanting to become a life coach and to start sharing my stories to help inspire other people that there is more to life. There are more possibilities and opportunities for you. You do not have to let your past define who you become.